Welcome back to TransGuyReacts. My name is Nick and I make videos about women's basketball, collegiate or professional. Today I'm going to talk about the WNBA games for Sunday, September 1st. Before I get into that, I always like to get into the transactions. Yesterday, I did mention that Odyssey Sims was released from her Los Angeles Sparks contract, but it wasn't renewed at that point in the day. But after the games were over, it was updated. So she did get signed to her third 7-day contract with the Los Angeles Sparks, and you only get 3 of these hardship contracts. So we'll see if she gets signed to the rest of the year. She should. I don't see why not. Sparks are unlikely to make the playoffs, but at least give her the rest of the season. You know, they have I think they have games until the 19th of September, so she's really helpful. Today's games, there were 5 games on today. Only 2 of them were on at the same time, so that was kind of shocking and nice. I can't complain about that. But that also meant that there were games on all day. And for me, I live in Central America. I'm in Guatemala at this time, and so the first game for me started at 11 a.m. and then all the games didn't end until 7 p.m. So it was a long day of basketball for me. The first game of the day was the Seattle Storm versus the Connecticut Sun. To be honest, I forgot about the game because it was on so early, so I missed the first quarter. But it was a 20 to 22 point game quarter, so pretty close. Also, to note about this game, I forgot to mention, DeWanna Bonner, last game that the Sun played, moved past Misha Catchings for the all-time scoring list. Now she is number 4, so she's just moving up there. Same with Tina Charles, they're just moving on up. But I don't know, it's going to be really hard to catch Diana because Diana has like 10,000 points, and DeWanna Bonner and Tina Charles have like 7,000, so it's just, we'll see. If they keep playing as long as Diana, maybe they will. I see that Alyssa Thomas did get to play today, which is great because the last game, which was yesterday, they benched her for the rest of the game because she had like a knee collision with Carly Samuelson in her knee brace. So good to see Alyssa Thomas on the floor. But then I was like, I actually started watching the second quarter, and then I I'm just speaking too soon right now because like Alyssa Thomas goes down again during a play. She was kind of writhing in pain on the ground. And it was the same knee as last night, so they didn't have her play anymore in the game. There was 4 minutes left in the quarter too. This is just the second quarter. End of this quarter is 34 to 42. We go into the third quarter really tight, but the Sun are maintaining that lead. Marina Mabry gets hit with a technical for talking at the refs. So the end of that quarter is 56 to 65. Going to the fourth quarter, the Storm are battling, though. They're chipping at that Sun lead. Brianna Jones, though, for the Sun, is having a hell of a night. She is in a little bit of foul trouble, but she is just having a fantastic night. The Storm are able to cut that lead to 3 points with a minute and 7 seconds left, but then the Sun come roaring back. But damn, it was like a really intense 30 seconds. Like the last 30 seconds went on for like 4 or 5 minutes. It was really long. It was going back and forth. Lots of fouls on both sides. Skylar Diggins-Smith ends up fouling out. Nneka Nwumike gets into foul trouble. She had like 5 fouls as well. But the Sun are able to maintain that lead and win the game 86 to 93. So let's look at the box score for this game. For the Seattle Storm, Nneka Nwumike had a great night. She had 20 points, 11 rebounds for a double-double. She also had 2 steals, but like I said, she had 5 fouls. She was in foul trouble. Ezi Magbabor had 13 points, 7 rebounds. She had a great game. Also a little bit of foul trouble for 4 fouls. Jewel Lloyd, 27 points, 5 rebounds, also in foul trouble. She had 5 fouls, 3 steals. Really good night for her, but the foul trouble. Skylar Diggins-Smith, like I said, she had 6 fouls. She did foul the game, but she did have 16 points and 6 assists. So she had a really great night, 2 steals. And then the rest of the team was just a little bit of contributions on the points end. And then for the Connecticut Sun, Alyssa Thomas only had 8 points. She had to get out of the game pretty early, and 8 assists and 8 rebounds. She had an 8-8-8 night, which is crazy. She was really close to getting a triple-double, as she usually does. And she only played for she did come back in the game a little bit, and she played for but not the whole time. So still, it's crazy how her stats. Brianna Jones had a monster night. She had 26 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks. Dejanay Carrington had 14 points, just a solid night for her. She's just continually doing well. She had 3 steals and 1 block. Taisha Harris had 13 points. Marina Mabry had 15 points, just solid production. Oh yeah, and Veronica Burton had a great night. She had 11 points. So just a really solid night for the Connecticut Sun, showing their dominance. Pretty high scoring game. Second game of the night was the Chicago Sky versus the Minnesota Lynx. Kennedy Carter for the Sky was still out with COVID, and for me, just hearing that, I was like, "Ooh, it's gonna be a tough game for the Sky." Lynx are playing fantastic this season, and Kennedy is their leading scorer, so I was like, they probably are not gonna win this game. Alana Smith is listed as day to day, but she was out for today's game for Lynx. So the first quarter, of course, the Lynx start out super strong, but Camila Cardoso was doing the most. She was doing a lot of things on the floor and really helping the team, but still it was 17-25 at the end of the first quarter. You go into the second quarter, Dana Evans and Natisha Heidemann got into it, and there was like a little bit of a shoving situation going on, and they both got technicals. And not gonna lie, when I was looking at the replay, it immediately, like, I was like, it looks like they're about to kiss. and only in my dreams, my queer dreams. But it kind of reminded me of that time where Diana Taurasi and Simone Augustus were going at it, and Diana kissed Simone on the cheek, and then they both got technicals. It was great. If you have not seen that clip, look it up. It is a classic clip. Despite the shenanigans, Lynx do have a good lead, but the Sky are still in it. Actually, they're keeping it pretty close. It was 32-39 at the end of the second. So you go into the third quarter. Bridget Carlton and Angel Reese collide going after a ball, and Angel loses one of her contacts. A little scary. Anything dealing with eyes, I get like a little squeamish about. But they called it a foul on Rachel. They called it a foul on Reese, which I didn't feel was a foul, but whatever. Rachel Banham also goes down with a possible shoulder injury, and they take her out of the game. At the end of the third, it's 51-60. So it's, the Lynx are pulling away, but the Sky are not out of it at that point. Then we go to the fourth quarter, and the Sky cut the lead to 4 points. Camila Cardoso is having a fantastic night. I think it's her career high, actually. It's a close quarter. The entire quarter is close. But the Sky do have quite a few turnovers, and the Lynx end up winning this game 74-79. So only a 5-point win. It was a close game. It was pretty thrilling. The Lynx end up doing their cringy electric slide dance, which I hate, but whatever. Despite this Sky loss, it's like their sixth in a row. Angel Reese does break the WNBA single season rebounding record with 405 rebounds, which is amazing. In the post game press conference, Angel did confirm that she is not on social media and she doesn't know what's going on or what's being said about her or any accolades. So the press had to tell her about that accomplishment, and she was like, "Yeah, that's great, but I'm trying to win. My rebounds is great, but I want to win." And she was like, "I know that rebounding will help us win, but that she needs to do more than just rebound." So she's quite aware of her limitations in her game, and I think she has a really big career ahead of her, and there's a lot of growth, and she's already doing record-breaking things in her rookie year. So I don't see any issues with her game. They're actually still in, even with this loss, they're still in contention for the playoffs. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. For the box score for this game, Michaela Anunwede had 15 points, 2 steals. Angel Reese had a double-double, 17 points, 19 rebounds. 12 of those were defensive and 7 were offensive. She did get into foul trouble. She had 5 fouls, 2 steals. Pretty good night for her, though. Camila Cardoso had 22 points, a career high, and 9 rebounds. Almost had a double-double. She was doing fantastic. And she was really, honestly, kind of carrying the team, her Angel and Michaela. And then Lindsay Allen had 6, Dana Evans had 8, and Diamond Shields had 6 points. All those were, in the middle in terms of scoring, but contributions nonetheless. Now, looking at the Lynx, Bridget Carlton had 8 points, Nafisa Collier had 15, which I kind of expect from her, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Kayla McBride had 17 points. Courtney Williams had 22 points, 6 assists, 2 steals. Really great night for her. And then Maisha Allen had 7 points, and Dorka Juhas had 6. So, some contributors there as well. But Courtney, Nafisa, and Kayla were knocking them down. So That's what the Lynx do. And then there are two games on at the same time. It was Indiana Fever versus Dallas Wings, and the Las Vegas Aces versus the Phoenix Mercury. I did not watch the Fever versus the Wings game, so it's just going to be pretty much the box score for this one. There's a few things that I want to note because I've said this so many times. If you've watched my little recaps, I don't watch Fever games usually. A lot of the fans are trash, in my opinion. A lot of racist MAGA people. And I know that's not all the fans, but it's a big chunk of them. And the thing that I don't love about watching Indiana games is that the commentators and the media part of the game is like they're just constantly talking about Clark instead of actually focusing on the game as a whole. And to me, I just don't like all that clit sucking. It's just too much for me. Both teams are on a 3-game winning streak, so with the Wings, they were like number 11 out of 12 in the standings, so they really needed to win this game to kind of push themselves up. Fever at 6, they're probably fine. They're probably going to make the playoffs as long as they don't do too much damage. So looking at the box score, first quarter was 19-23, second quarter 45-46. So Wings are in control. In the third quarter, I did come into the game because I was like, I got a little break during halftime. So now I was like, the Wings are playing really well. At that point, they were up 10 points. But then like during the third quarter, this is a Dallas home game and they're up by 10 points, and then the commentators just start sucking Clark's clit. It just immediately turned me off. I was like, I don't want to watch this game anymore. Like, I don't have any issues with like praising Clark in terms of like her helping to grow the fan base, but it's just the constant worship of her. I think it's really weird and gross. Treating her as like she's a God's gift, as if the league wasn't growing before she came. The 2 years before she came, the league was growing exponentially. Like, she definitely pushed it over the edge. But at the same time, I'm like, is that a good thing? Because the fan base that she brought is not the best people in the world. They're not the nicest. A lot of old racist conservative men, and it's like that's not what the W is about. It's a very progressive league, and like her fan base is not progressive at all. They're very conservative. So I'm like, is it like, yeah, it grew the game, but like at what cost? I would have preferred a much slower growth. So I'm not feeling that. And I don't like the way that the fan base treats the other teammates on the team. So anyway, it's my opinion, and like they say, all people have assholes, and I am, all opinion. Like, what's that saying? Everyone's got an opinion. Like, everyone has an asshole. Just like me. Anywho, also, there are a lot of Fever fans in the game at the Dallas game, which I also hate. I do not like it when you go to a home game, your city's home game, and you're rooting for the opposing team. That is just the most fucking asshole thing you can do. I hate people who do shit like that. I'm not into it. Anyway, the third quarter was 70-74. In the fourth quarter, looks like Indiana was able to get in control of the game, and it ended 100-93. So it was in control of Dallas, but something happened in the fourth quarter and shit fell apart. I would imagine probably the refs doing ref things and calling the game. So Sachi Sabali had a monster night. She had 25 points, 2 steals. Natasha Howard had 18 points, 9 assists. Tierra McCowan had 5 points, but 11 rebounds. Arike Gubawali had 34 points. Oh my God, Arike, that's crazy. 8 rebounds. And then JC Sheldon had 8 points. JC's been showing some real promise. I love her game. She's pretty consistent. Looking at Indiana Fever, Melissa Smith had 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Good night for her. Aaliyah Boston had a kind of a quiet night, 7 points, 8 rebounds. She had foul trouble. She had like 5 personal fouls. Kelsey Mitchell had 36 points. Really great night for her. Caitlin Clark had 28 points, 12 assists for a double-double, 7 turnovers because, she's a turnover queen. And Damiris Dantas had 7 points. So good night for the Indiana Fever. Now, going to the game that I actually did watch, which was the Las Vegas Aces versus the Phoenix Mercury. Sellout crowd for this game. In the first quarter, I didn't catch what happened, but I'm pretty sure that Sophie Cunningham got a technical, or at least close to it. She missed. I missed it, but it sounds like she got mad at the refs or something and they gave her a technical. But the Aces do start this quarter off super duper strong. It's 29-10. Okay. It's like, damn. Mercury's getting their ass beat. Second quarter, crazy. It's so crazy. Natasha Cloud gets a foul on Kelsey Plum, and Cloud is pissed about it, so she protests, and then she gets a tech from the refs. because these refs are soft. They're just the most weak people I've ever met. I haven't met them personally, but you know what I mean? Like, they're very weak in their assessments. The Aces are killing the Merc in this quarter. The Merc do go on a 7-0 run at one point, but in the second quarter, A'ja Wilson already has her 20th double-double of the season. So I was like, it ain't looking good for the Mercury. They end the second quarter 51-28. Ooh, hurts. During the halftime show, though, there was some native drumming and performance, so that was pretty cool, some dancing. Anyway, we get into the third quarter. Diana Taurasi gets a technical, and she gets a technical. It's off camera, so you don't see it happen. There's no replay, and she claims that she was talking to a teammate, and the ref, I guess, overheard it and gave her a technical. What? Like, these refs are on some power trips. That's 3 technicals on the same team. It's crazy. So now, because Diana Taurasi got that technical, so did Natasha Cloud. That's their 7 technicals. They've hit the technical limits for the season, and now they're not available to play in their next home game against the Atlanta Dream, which is on Tuesday. Ridiculous. The thing, though, about technicals in the Mercury, especially with Diana, that's when she gets like a fire under her belly and she plays a lot better. So the Mercury go on a 12-2 run after that, which is kind of funny. Then, oh my god, it's so fucking frustrating. A few minutes later, Kalia Copper gets a technical foul for complaining to the refs for not getting a foul that was called on her. So again, these refs are trash and they can't take any criticism. If you say anything to them, they're going to give you a technical. So they want to play God in the game instead of actually calling the game and not like being accountable to their fallibility. It is just so frustrating. So 4 fouls on the Mercury in one night. Wild. Just for complaining. Just for complaining about the calls. Not for doing anything like untoward to another teammate or even like, necessarily cussing out the refs. I think they just were complaining and like getting a technical. Wild. Anyway, the Mercury do use that to fuel them. They go on a run to help cut the lead, but the Aces, they're just playing just ridiculous out of their mind. A'ja ends up doing this monster block on Monique Billings, and then Sophie Cunningham tries to do the same thing on A'ja, but gets fouled on the attempted block, and she is convinced that it's not. And she ends up like jumping up and down in protest, but she like hurts her ankle in the process, and so she kind of falls down, which is probably good because if she kept arguing and like jumping up and down, I bet she would have got another technical and thrown out of the game. So anyway, at the end of the third quarter, it was 76-59, but the Merc did win the quarter. It was 24-31, so they won the third quarter, but they were still so far behind that I was like, this is just not looking good. Going to the fourth quarter, Aces are able to balloon the lead back up to 20 points, and then Asia's just like having an incredible game. It's just like undeniable MVP shit, like ridiculous game. 97-79 is the end of the game. And let me talk about the box score for this one. So for the Mercury, Kalia Copper had 15 points. Brittany Griner had 24 points. Diana Taurasi had 9 and 7 assists. Sophie Cunningham had 15. And Natasha Cloud had 5. Celeste Taylor had 6. A little bit of help from other players, but just wasn't enough for the Aces. The Aces was kicking that ass. Jackie Young had 11 points, 14 assists for a double-double. She also had 3 steals. A'ja Wilson had 41 points. 41 fucking points, yo. 17 rebounds. 17. 2 steals, 1 block. Crazy. Kelsey Plum had 16 points. Tiffany Hayes had 11 points. Yeah, and then Sydney Colson got some minutes. She got 5 points. Like, just solid game from the Aces, and nothing you can really do there. In terms of like the drama of this game and how ridiculous it was with the refs, and like it was just like a really great game for A'ja. Definitely worth watching if you want to re-watch it. A great prime example of terrible refereeing in the W. Great example. Anywho, then you had the last game of the evening, which was the Atlanta Dream versus the Los Angeles Sparks. With the Sparks have like not the Sparks, excuse me. The Dream are number 9 in the spot for the playoffs, and they've had 4 losses in a row. So the Dream really needed this win. They really did. Cheyenne Parker Tyus is still out with an ankle injury for the Dream. For the Sparks, Leja Clarendon is still out for personal reasons. Apparently it's mental health related, so I hope that they are doing okay and that we will see them soon. But like at this point, I don't know if they're going to be coming back. I hope so, though. I hope Leja's okay. Ari McDonald is back. She was injured for a while, and she's back, and she was able to play in this game. In the first quarter, the Dream started out with a 9-0 lead, and that's led by Howard and not Natasha, Ryan Howard, excuse me, and Tina Charles just playing just ridiculously well. The first points for the Sparks didn't come until like there were 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. Tina Charles was just giving it to them. She was just playing out of her mind. The first quarter was 25-12. In the second quarter, Rakia Jackson was getting double and triple team, which is like a testament to her game. She's just too good, and everyone knows it. So now the game plan for going after the Sparks is to double and triple team her, and they did, but it wasn't like successful all the time. But it helped. It worked. But the Sparks did try to chip at the lead, but the Dream were just able to maintain it. The end of the second quarter was 46-30. You go into the third quarter, pretty much more of the same. It's 65-45 at the end of that third quarter, and then you go into the fourth quarter. The Sparks do cut the lead down to 13, but again, the Dream are able to control the game. And with like 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, the score is 76-57, and Tanisha Wright empties her bench. She takes her starters off the floor, and she's just like, yeah, I'm just having my backup play for the rest of the game. And the final score was 80-62. Yeah, tough loss for the Sparks, but I mean, they're number 12 in the standings. They're not making the playoffs. So this is really, like I said, it was a really important win for the Dream, and I'm glad they got it. So for the Sparks, Rakia Jackson had 13 points, and Lee Yuru had 14 points. Those were the highest scoring players in the game, which is telling. Okay, so and then Odyssey Sims and Kia Nurse both had 8 points. Derica Hamby had 5 points, 9 rebounds. Just like it just wasn't a great offensive night for the team. When Lee and Rakia are the highest scoring players, like, damn, that's just unfortunate. For the Atlanta Dream, they were playing out of their fucking mind. Ryan Howard had 19.7 rebounds, 2 blocks. Naz Hillman had 10 points and 9 rebounds, almost had a double-double. Tina Charles had 23 points and 10 rebounds for a double-double. Great night for her. Alicia Gray had 12 points. Excuse me. And then there was a couple role players. So Jordan Canada and Maya Caldwell both had 6 points. So yeah, just a monster game for Atlanta Dream. But yeah, those are the updates for today. If you like these kind of recaps, I know they're kind of long, but I go hard in terms of covering what happened. If you like it, like, share, subscribe, follow, do all the things that you do in social media. You guys know what to do. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.